I have just picked up a box from the post office. It's a big box. It's not that much inside, but it is some cool stuff. And we are going to take a look at it together. Alright, so I have cut this open. This is just in from the rain. So this I have not looked inside yet, but I know roughly what's in there, particularly the larger pieces. These are D&D miniatures, like the Hasbro pre-painted miniatures, and I have a rough idea of the of what actual miniatures are in there. Now, if you know me, you know that I love the old Dungeons and Dragons miniatures line, the pre-Wizkids era line. There's a lot of designs I really like. Most of it is based on 3rd and 3.5 edition D&D designs, which I really like and very often prefer above the 5e designs. On top of that, I generally like WizKids miniatures, but I do feel a lot of it doesn't feel as good. They don't vibe as well, if you can say that, for me personally. So with that, let's open this. I'm gonna say this was $50 plus shipping, $20 shipping. This was from a seller in Norway. Now, Norway is not very big on Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, there are a lot of people who play, but there are not that many people who live in Norway, and most of them don't play. So it's not a huge market for miniatures and such, and most people into miniatures are more into Warhammer than D&D. So miniatures for sale is a very uncommon occurrence. That is why I was very surprised to find these on the Facebook Marketplace, and I was even more surprised at the price. With that said, we have a bag of assorted miniatures here. We have a couple of wings in here. The creature that those wings belong to. And last but not least, we have this, which is the main reason I wanted to get this. And this was the biggest surprise, to be honest. And it is also something I have been wanting to get for a very, very long time, because I used to have this and then I, under unfortunate circumstances, lost it. So let us start with the smaller stuff first. This is a good bag of assorted miniatures. I'm gonna do it like so. And then we are going to just pick these out one by one. Alright, so here we have the Celestial Black Bear. This is from the Aberration set, and I already have multiples of these. But it is a cool miniature. A black bear with some gold on him. So that's fun. Next up, another Aberrations miniature. This is the Carrion Tribe Barbarian. Now I have a full case unboxing for the Aberration set, and I also did like December Advent series with another case doing 1 box per day up until Christmas. So I do have a lot of the Aberrations miniatures already. I believe there is one full booster of Aberration minis in here. Here's another one, the Osimar Favored Soul, which is one of my less favorite miniatures. I don't like the pose. It is kind of useless. Here is the Tear. Another Aberrations mini. Kind of gorilla, albino gorilla type creature with a club. Actually don't mind having another of those. I do have a few already, but it's definitely a creature that you want to use in a pack. Now let's see what other Aberration minis. Here we have the Knoll Skeleton. And I don't mind having another of these. I really like having undead versions of non-humans. That is always nice to have because it only makes sense, you know? And of course, Kobold. This is the Kobold Champion. It's a really nice Kobold mini. I do have many of these, including some that I have painted up myself from one of the board games. But you can never have too many kobolds. And here is the Mongrel Folk. I feel like I'm starting to have enough of these, but it's fine. I don't mind having another one. And this seems to be the final Aberrations mini. And as I expected, it was a full booster pack worth of Aberration minis. So this here is the rare. It is the Mind Flayer Telepath, which I think personally is one of the absolute coolest Mind Flayer minis out there, especially in the pre-painted lines. So that is awesome. I do already have it, and I have a version that I've painted up myself as well, but I don't mind having another one. More Mind Flayers is always cool, and that is one hell of a Mind Flayer. So let's get on with the next few minis. We have some Wardrum's miniatures. Now you might remember that I recently got 2 Wardrum's starter sets that had been opened, and I had no idea what to expect from the inside. Well, here we have some more Wardrum's miniatures. This is the Wood Elf Ranger, which is one of the 2 that comes with the starter set. So it might be that we have a full starter set worth of Wardrum's miniatures here. This is the Orc Mauler, which is the other miniature that is also in every Wardrum starter set. It is a very cool orc miniature. But I do have a few of it at this point. But having both of these means that I am really thinking that a lot of these are from Wardrums. Probably it might be a full set of 12. Next Wardrums mini is the Hunting Cougar. It is not my favorite miniature ever. I did talk about the pose on this in that other video, that despite it looking as stiff and undynamic as it does, it is actually not that far off from how it actually looks in real life when you look at cats. Next up is the Goblin Underboss. It's a nice little goblin miniature. A bit of a hair there. Off you go. Pretty decent. This one. The Orc Wardrummer. This one I'm very happy to have. This is a rare miniature and one I did not already have, and also one I could see myself using. This is a pretty cool miniature. Here we have another Wardrums. This is the Steelheart Archer. I don't remember if I have this one or not, but it is a very cool miniature. Very, very cool. And that seems to be it for the Wardrums. So that was only 6 miniatures, meaning it's not enough for a booster pack and it's not enough for the starter set. So I imagine that this is probably half of a starter set, seeing as we had both the Orc Mauler and the Wood Elf Ranger, which are static with each Wardrum starter. Alright, let's move on to the Dungeons of Dread. First off, we have this Troglodyte. This is the Troglodyte Bone Crusher. Now this guy could definitely do with a wash, because it looks a little bit the paint job looks a little bit unfinished without it, to be honest. So I'm probably going to do that. And we have a Goblin Picador. I think we saw one of these recently as well. Now he has this spear where the entire thing is painted in a silvery metallic or steel metallic, and then he has like this quiver with another couple of spears inside it, and they are just black. So that's not really great. I might do a repaint or just fix it up, and maybe also touch up his face because there is no painted details on those. They are just yellow like the skin. But otherwise, a decent enough miniature. Then we have another kobold. A kobold archer, also from the Desert of Desolation. Almost all of the next miniatures will be from Desert of Desolation until I mention it. I will say it's not my favorite kobold miniature, but it is decent enough. Do like his face. It's kind of trying to be angry and menacing, but looking kind of sad at the same time. So, more kobolds. I don't know if I have that one already, but the more the merrier. Here's another one that I'm pretty sure I don't have. This is the Chillborn. And I don't know about the stats for this or the lore or anything, but definitely looks like a frozen zombie, which is pretty cool. I like that. Any zombie encounters in Icewind Dale, for example, or any other freezing place, that should be good for that. Here we have the Death Jump Spider. Now I finished painting 3 of these, I think. 3, maybe 6. I think it was 3. A short while ago, because they also come unpainted in one of the board games. So I didn't really need more of these, but I don't mind it either. Here is a dude. This is the Everfrost Ranger. He's got a he's got blonde hair with a ponytail and a handlebar mustache, and dual wielding a sword and an axe, and is lightly armored. Pretty decent miniature. I do like this. Here is a cool one. This is the Dwarf Warlord. Pretty decked out dwarf character. Based solely on the skin, I would call this a Dwergar. The Dark Dwarves. This is definitely a high-level character. Got a very cool-looking, I want to say axe. Yeah, it probably goes as an axe. And a mace in the other hand. It's got a really nice beard, lots of braids in there. And his armor is also very, very epic looking. Got an extra weapon hanging down back here. And he's got a nice pelt cape. And also a crossbow. Even if you're mainly a melee character, always have a ranged option. So this is definitely a very cool one. Very happy to have this. And I'm surprised this is not a rare miniature. This is an uncommon. So this is a really good uncommon. And here we have a Gnoll Marauder. Pretty large Gnoll miniature, which I do like. They got a nice green on the eyes there, making them stand out a lot. Got a huge spear, yipping towards his enemies, probably the adventurers, and a broken shield that he has fixed with a couple of planks. Now the planks are painted just the same as the rest of the shield, so I might repaint that. But this is a very, very cool Gnoll miniature, and I like how large it is as well, because Gnolls are generally larger than humans, at least in my head. And interestingly, just a common miniature. Now here is an interesting one. This is the Shade Knight. And what's interesting is that it is translucent, which not many miniatures from the Dungeons & Dragons miniatures product line were. So this is a heavily armored guy that seems to be probably incorporeal, probably a sort of a specter of a knight that keeps guarding a place or something like that. His two-handed sword does seem to be not so spectral though, and definitely gonna hit you. So that's cool. Then we have this Grick. Gonna be honest, it is not my favorite Grick sculpt or design. I mean, the tentacles here kind of just looks like a mustache, to be honest. Look at that. So yeah, not as big of a fan of this design. I do like the Grick design where these are actually just part of the mouth that opens, and then there's the beak inside. Here they are tentacles that just goes out to the side. But maybe I'll use it, maybe not. We will see sometime in the future, I guess. Then we have another humanoid. This is the Defiant Rake. I don't know what a rake means, so you know, there's that. The paint job on this one is honestly kind of terrible. Just splotched everywhere. They haven't even managed to get the skin color on the entire face. However, the miniature itself looks decent enough. Kind of feels like a roguish character. Maybe I will fix this up, like touch it up a bit. Make it look actually decent, because right now it looks kinda shit. But the sculpt itself is fine, and the design is good, so. Here we have A gargoyle. This is a pretty large gargoyle, which I do think is pretty cool. Though I will say he feels a bit too large for a medium base. But it is a very cool miniature. It is... The paint job is... I won't say it's great, it's very simple. But they do a lot with the simplicity of it. So it looks good. It looks very good. But really it's just a gray with some green, mossy green splotches here and there, and then a black wash, and that's all there is. I think there's a little bit of red on the eyes, but it is a very cool sculpt, and the miniature looks pretty great overall. So I am very happy to have this. Absolutely. So far we've done a total of 12 miniatures in the Dungeons of Dread minis I got here. There are still 2 left. Only one of them is a rare actually. So we don't have enough for 2 boosters. There's definitely 1 full booster here, and then there is 1 partial booster. What we do have though is this large-sized dire wolf. That is a pretty cool dire wolf. Looks dire indeed. I would say though that this to me feels more like a giant wolf, because to me dire creatures have spikes coming out of them and such. But it is a very cool and menacing, unnaturally large wolf. So this is very cool, very happy to have this. And finally, for the Dungeons of Dread, we got a dragon. We have the young red dragon. This is a rare mini. Very cool looking. In the middle of a roar, it looks like, or maybe clawing upwards at something. It's the classic red dragon design. I like this a lot. Very fun to have. Very, very fun to have. There are 2 miniatures left of all the small ones, then we will look at the larger ones. And the second to last of these smaller miniatures, this is the Fiendish Snake. I really, really like this sculpt. I do have some that I have painted myself, because these come in one of the D&D board games. I think it is the Wrath of Ashardalon board game. You get 3 of them. And it's just an awesome looking snake. But the interesting thing is that this is actually a promo miniature. So this may or may not be painted differently than the actual pre-painted version of the Fiendish Snake. Either way, it is very, very cool. I like that a lot. And finally, before we move on to the larger stuff, there is this Tiefling Warlock. This is definitely the 4th edition design for Tieflings, which is basically the same design as in 5th edition, and it's pretty cool. I really like this miniature. The pose isn't the most interesting, but it is a cool miniature overall, and I do like having more Tiefling minis. Also really fun how how his tail goes down and wraps around his leg there. That's pretty cool. And this one is also a promo miniature, and may therefore be possibly painted differently from the official retail release, the one that you would get when you bought it. I don't know where these promos were possible to get at the time. May have been convention stuff, it may have been something completely different. Either way, it's really cool to have them, both as minis that I will use for play, but also as collectibles. So I am super happy about that. Now let's move on to 2 big items. Just gonna do that. Alright, so the first one, I mentioned these are wings. These were taken off to protect it in shipping. These are very, very nicely sculpted wings. I really like these. Now, any Mage Knight people out there might recognize this. So let's just move on to the rest of that miniature. There we go. The Skyguard Griffon. This is a pretty awesome miniature. Now let's put those wings on. Slots right in. That's pretty cool. This pole arm needs to be bent properly. Probably gonna need, unless it stays like that, I doubt it, but probably gonna need to do the classic hot water, cold water trick. But yes, this is a majestic miniature. Absolutely. Very, very cool. This is definitely a miniature I want to use in a game at some point. I'm gonna find some reason to use this because it is absolutely awesome. Now, as with all of these, I need to do some cleaning because they have gotten quite a bit of dust on them over the years. They have apparently been in a cellar for a long time. But man, this is a cool miniature. Now, generally, I tend to rebase Mage Knight miniatures, but this one I'm going to leave alone. It just wouldn't feel right. Straight up. But yeah, this is a very, very cool looking miniature. Very awesome. And with that, we are going to see the one thing I am the most excited about in this entire thing. And this guy definitely needs a bit of a wash, like as in cleaning, because he's a big boy that has been in that cellar for way too long. But this is the Gargantuan Black Dragon. I'm gonna have to remove that miniature a bit and these so we can make space for him. I'm gonna readjust there, I think. But this is the Dungeons and Dragons miniatures icons Black Dragon, Gargantuan Black Dragon. And this is one that I bought way back in the day, brand new from the store, and subsequently lost some years later along with the rest of the Icons dragons that I owned. And if you have been following the channel, you know that I recently, well, last year, found the Icons Orcus miniature, which I never had before, but is the only Icons miniature I didn't have, and now I do. And I also have the Colossal Red Dragon miniature in the series. And now I have the Black Dragon. He is going to be cleaned up properly. I'm gonna put him on the turntable for you so you can see him properly. But in comparison to WizKids oversized and Gargantuan, but not supposed to be Gargantuan, adult Black Dragon, this is them side by side. There's a bit of a size difference here. Granted, the WizKids one have larger and more realistically sized wings for the size of the dragon's body, but this is definitely a much much older dragon than this. So I am super excited to have this back in my collection. I am going to clean it up, as I said. Same with the other minis here. Yeah. Very, very happy to have this. And as luck would have it, I actually found the blue dragon as well. I don't have it yet, but I did find the blue dragon in Sweden for a decent price. Lower than eBay price. So that's gonna be fun. That is on its way and will show up in a later video. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoy going through these finds with you, especially when it is the old Dungeons and Dragons miniatures from way back in the day. There's just something about them. Maybe it's nostalgia. I think there's a bit of that, but I think there's also something else. In any case, I really hope you enjoyed this. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next video.